What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here, PackersNews.com, live on Facebook late in the day on Friday. We've just heard from Mike McCarthy. No locker room access today, but I did want to jump on here late prior to the weekend beginning, talk to you fine folks and see what's on your minds when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. I'm sure there'll be lots of questions or a few questions about injuries. Mike McCarthy declining to give any kind of specific updates on anybody. The most specific he got was that Jake Kumerow is having testing done on his shoulder, but other than that, I don't think we'll hear anything until Sunday or Monday at the earliest. Hello, everyone jumping in the comments. Always lovely to see you all. Simon, Manuel, good to see you. Mark, hey, bud, how are you? So, yeah, after watching the playback again last night, of course, there's no coach's tape available in the preseason, which the NFL really needs to figure out. But, you know, all the things that jumped out at you last night live seem to be there again when you watched it, although, as Mike McCarthy says, it's never as bad as you think it is, never as good as you maybe remember it. The tackling early on was pretty bad. It shored up as the game went on. I think Reggie Gilbert still stands out, and you definitely saw some really promising play from the entire tight end group. Everybody chiming in here with your questions. Good to see you all. Keith, hello. Lloyd. Jonathan, safety, wide receiver, and offensive tackle are the three biggest needs going into 2019. I don't really see wide receiver until we figure out what any of these guys can do. The three draft picks and Kumerow are all still developing, so I'm not ready to say anything's really a need in 2019 until we get a better idea of what these guys can do in the regular season. Uruguay, what's up? Martini and Thomas struggled last night. Off and on, I wouldn't say they struggled point blank. I think there was some promising stuff. I thought there was some struggle, definitely, but it's really hard to evaluate as far as team play in the preseason when they're playing with a ton of different kind of different sets of teammates around them, whether it's third, fourth string guys, guys who won't be in the league this year, guys who are struggling for a backup spot, etc. I thought Thomas displayed some nice stuff, especially he had a couple really nice plays off the edge, which is not something we've seen a ton of from him, but it's good to see him kind of cross-training both inside and on the edge. As far as Martini goes, I don't think he's ever going to be counted on for much from scrimmage. He's basically there to be a special teams guy. He's been running first special teams coverage and return since basically the start of camp, so I'd be surprised if you ever saw him from scrimmage much, but again, it's very early in the process, and these guys have to get out there and try and improve. Hello from Santa Barbara, California. What's up? Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks for checking in. Growing the green. I'm not. I'm on vacation, and this is somebody else's place. Any chance we can get rid of both fullbacks? Seemed neither of them played last night. Carriage played late, and Ripkowski played a little bit, but remember, there's no game planning going on right now. Any kind of use or non-use of any position group doesn't really mean anything in regards to how they might be deployed in the regular season. You know, McCarthy and Pettin both kept it pretty vanilla once again last night, just because, and there's no doubt that the use of the fullback was scaled back greatly last season, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be the plan going forward. Impressions on 21? Not good early. He improved as the game went on, but those first couple of drives were pretty ugly for Clinton Dix. The man plays safety. It's a physical position. He seems to turn down contact more than invite it, and that is something that's got to change if he's to kind of bounce back from a subpar year last year. Can Tanyan make the roster? It's a real long shot. I mean, those three guys ahead of him, Graham, Kendricks, Lewis, those are some seasoned pros, and Tanyan is still very, very new to the position. He's got to, try to figure out how to block somebody first before he probably can make the 53, but I think he has practice squad written all over him. Is it a guarantee at this point that 7 receivers make the roster? Absolutely not, mostly because of that tight end group. They're going to keep probably those 3 tight ends, and that's going to make it hard to keep 7 wide receivers, but we'll see. I love whoever it is that is putting an angry face after every single question in the comment section. You are a real troll hero. Congratulations on everything you're doing with your life right now. Would you rather have Eric Reed over Haha or Bryce? I'd probably like to have Eric Reed, definitely. No doubt about it. Do you think Josh Jackson earned some more first-team reps? I doubt that, Tony. I think he played a lot and he showed real promise. But, you know, we haven't really seen much from Alexander yet, and King was out with a shoulder. I'm not ready to declare Josh Jackson ready to move into the starting lineup. Stop with the frowns. Somebody's having a lot of fun with the frown emoji. It's okay. Let them have their fun. They're small and pathetic, and that's who they are. It's okay. It's all right. It's like dealing with my children. Up front, D looking weak against the run. In parts, but there were also plenty of plays where you saw Clark shoot a gap and Lowry hold a double team on one particular snap, and Wilkerson kind of basically two-gapping a guy. So there was some promising stuff there. I do agree that there were a couple of instances where they were blowing off the ball, especially early. Steelers have an excellent first-team offensive line, not all of whom played last night, but yeah, there's going to be ups and downs. There's no doubt about it. Again, you got to remember, Pettine is still very, very vanilla at this point. Not a lot of scheming, not a lot of shooting gaps, etc. There were a few more run blitzes called last night, but for the most part, it's guys taking on double teams, trying to shoot a gap, etc. on their own. And I thought Wilkerson held up pretty well for the most part. But yeah, there were some plays definitely where the Steelers took advantage. Jimmy looked good for the one series he was in. What's your take? You know, unfortunate about the false start. That's something he's going to have to get used to. Rodgers keeps it up tempo all the time, and you've got to have your head in the game. And it was funny, the play prior to his being called for the false start, he actually had a shift that made it look like he was just shifting, but I'm pretty sure he false started there too, and just got away with it. But yeah, for the most part, you saw how he played. He actually didn't. He played 2 series. He was in on the next series with Hundley, and drew that pass interference penalty. But I thought, you know, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get Rodgers throwing balls up into a space where only he can go get it. And I think you're going to see a very productive duo there. Is King's new injury going to limit him like last year? Tom, it doesn't seem so if you take King at his word, but we'll have to see. They obviously kept him out again last night. I'm sure that is partly so that they don't have to be dealing with it all year. But we'll see. The only thing we can know is, you know, A, what we see on the field, and B, what they tell us afterwards. And so far, since sustaining that injury, we haven't seen much of him on the field other than some individual work. Gilbert looked like he's Matthews' replacement. All right, let's slow down. I think Gilbert has shown a lot of promise. He's had a hell of a camp in 2 games of the preseason. He's playing against a lot of backups, making a lot of noise against the backups, though I will say he had a really nice move against Pittsburgh's starting left tackle on, I think, his last 3rd down. You see the hustle, you see the physicality. He's played well against both the run and getting after the quarterback. Definitely taking a step, and I think you're going to see a lot of him this year, no doubt about it. Can Tanyan beat out Kendricks at tight end? I would tend to doubt it. The one possible way that happens is if they deem Kendricks too expensive. He is carrying a bit of a price tag as far as being a 3rd tight end who does not contribute very much on special teams. So if Tanyan can make some noise on special teams and continue catching everything in sight, it's an outside possibility, but I'd still tend to doubt it. Clay holding back the reins a bit. It's always the way, Matt. Clay hardly ever goes full speed in preseason and or camp. You won't see him full go until week 1. Were the pick sixes better coverage or bad reads? A bit of both. I think they were great jumps on the ball, but they were both the product of a quarterback staring down his receiver. There's no doubt about that. I thought on Tremon's too, the wide receiver could have done a better job kind of breaking back to the ball. But that's a veteran play, just reading a rookie quarterback and knowing exactly what's going to happen. What are the chances the Packers sign Eric Reed? Not good. Are the tackling issues due to the CBA non-contact practice rules? No, Paul. It's just they don't tackle very well. They never have. They have to draft better tacklers, better hitters, more physical players. I mean, when Kentrell Bryce is your supposed big hitter and he gets trucked by a quarterback, that about says everything you need to know about their physicality. There are a lot of athletes. They're good at what they're asked to do for the most part. But when it comes to tackling, they just have not drafted good tacklers, sound tacklers, which is what you need to do. You need to draft physical guys because once you get to the NFL, it's not the CBA rules in the sense that everybody's playing under the same CBA rules. Everyone's practicing under the same CBA rules. So You know, once you get to the NFL, it's assumed that you know how to tackle. At least you know how, the mechanics of it, etc. And, you know, there's not a whole lot coaching staffs can do because of the limits that they're given. Padded practices, contact, taking people to the ground, etc. So you need to draft excellent tacklers, and the Packers haven't done a lot of that. I agree Kizer seems to be better. I would agree. I said that last night. I think Hundley's played fine, but, you know, I think the athleticism and the live arm that Kizer brings are readily apparent. I think it's not really a question between those two in my mind. What did you think of the Pittsburgh penalty? Lowering the helmet seemed like a non-call to me. Those will definitely be called this year. Just can't do it. You got to see what you hit. And it's going to, I mean, people are going to howl and people are going to hate it. And I understand why, but that's the rule. And it's going to get called a lot until guys learn to adjust. Jones was supposed to be a big tackler. Yeah, he was a big hitter. And the thing was, I was talking to Pete Doherty about this last week when I was in town. It's funny how that first, like, week, 2 weeks of spring practice, you know, OTAs and minicamp, his rookie year, he was hitting everything. That was without pads. And then the pads came on at the beginning of camp, and he was laying the wood. And then it all just kind of disappeared. And I don't know if it's because he's thinking too much. You saw the promise in that third game against Cincinnati last year. You saw the physicality. And then he started playing a lot of center field due to injuries. Capers had him playing out in space, and it all just kind of evaporated, and it hasn't come back. And, you know, if you're the Packers, that's what you drafted him for. That's one of the things that was his calling card. I'm not here, you know, you could turn on his college tape and see he was never a sound tackler. He was a big hitter, but he would often overrun things, and that was a concern, and that's one of the reasons he dropped into the second round. But you at least thought you had a hitter there, and for whatever reason, that has kind of gone away. Will they try to trade Kizer after just trading for him? I tend to doubt it. Oren Brooks with another negative play last night? Maybe one or two, but overall I thought he had a really strong performance last night. I think you need to go back and watch that tape again. Camille. There it is. It took a while, but here we go. Khalil Mack to the Packers? Question mark? I highly doubt it, but it's fun to speculate on. Does House make the roster now due to injuries? It's possible. There's a long way to go. I still think he's on the outside looking in, but that's just me. Oh, I see what you're saying. You think he's going to be a good fit. Oren Brooks was another negative play. You mean tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Got you. I thought you said he had negative play, like a bad play on his part. My apologies. What's up with Alexander dressing but not playing? He did play. He played in the slot. He didn't do a whole lot. Ball didn't come his way, but he was out there. Hope the D can hold up against the run. Let's see them start scheming against some things first before we start worrying about the run defense. I think they're going to be just fine. House is a 53-man lock? I vehemently disagree. Burks is going to be a stud in this defense. Oh, I don't know about stud, Carl, but I think he'll be a good player. Serviceable, at least. No beer today. Not yet. It's coming up, though. Speaking of which, I think I need to go get one. Thanks a lot, everyone. I'm sorry if I couldn't get to your question. They do come fast and furious, but hell, it's the weekend. It's time to go get it. I hope you guys are having fun wherever you are. Hope you have a great weekend. Barring any breaking news overnight, I'll talk to you guys soon. Make sure you're checking PackersNews.com for all the latest. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, guys.